Hello friends, it's Jiftish from Encode Digital. This is a brand new series. In this series, we will analyze various Forex trading strategies with Python. So if you are already into the Forex trading or you're new beginner, so you must be have read about a lot of technical indicators, candlestick patterns, and various strategies in various books or online forums. But how effective they are, so that is what we're going to see. And what we're going to do in this series is, first of all, we will get the historical data, because that's what we need to do the analysis. And so in this particular tutorial, I will cover how we're going to get the historical data free of cost, and then in the further tutorials we will analyze each and every strategy over the last 2 years, 3 years data, and then we can see, okay, if we have chosen that strategy, then how many times we would have been in profit, how many times we've been in loss. We will set the stop loss and also how much profit we want to make. So based on all those sort of things, so we will see how much overall profit or loss we would have incurred in that year or that period of time, so that you can see effectiveness of that one. And we will compare various strategies, from technical indicators, MACD, the RSI, the SMA, various crossovers and all those sort of things. So that's what we will do. So let's, in this particular tutorial, let me deep dive into from where we can get the historical data and how we can get that one in from with Python into our SQLite database. Okay, in this series we will get data from two sources. One is the Alphavantage, and they provide the Forex data, as you can see, intraday, daily, weekly, and if I click on the intraday, the daily one, you see the data is there where open, high, low, close of the various dates. So this is the daily one. That's the one source we're going to get the data. The second source we're going to get data is from IG. Now this is if you are in UK. So if you're in UK, then we can get the data from IG. So it will provide the data like further. So within the open close price, it will provide us the bid and ask as well, because as you know, with any trading firm, so when you do trade, you will have the bid and ask, and there is always a pip difference. And so in order for us to have more accurate analysis, so we can use this one, bid and ask, based on the currency pair you are using. So that's the one from where we're going to get the data. So in this particular tutorial, I'm going to get the data from the IG. So what we need to do, there are few prerequisites for the IG. Of course, if you are in UK, you can create an account with them. You can have a demo account, and they provide a free API. So when you create accounts with them, then head over to setting, go to the API keys, and then you can generate a new key like I have done, and then for that particular key you will create a username and password. So these are the three things we need: username, password, and the key in order to get the data. And this is their IG labs, which they provided all the endpoints, what the endpoints are available. And actually they have created an API companion as well. This is where I was showing you earlier. So with an API companions, what you need to do is that you can log in, and once you have the login, then you can search the various, like this one is Euro USD, and get the data. Of course, we're going to do all these things in the Python. I just wanted to show you in case you want to explore, but the prerequisite is that you create an account with IG, because for this tutorial we're going to get the data from IG if you are in UK. If not, then in my next tutorial we will get the data from the Alphavantage. The other prerequisite is if on your download the SQLite. This is very lightweight database. It is just like file system. So that's the reason, rather than spinning up the MySQL server or the Postgres, we will just use a file-based system. Very quick, very easy. And in order to manage that one, so you can download the DB browser. There might be other browsers as well, but I use the management tools. I use the DB browser. Very lightweight again. So these are prerequisites. So let's start. Okay, let's take data from IG. So in order to do that one, let's first create a config file so that we can save our the username, password, and the API key. So I'm just going to create config.py, and let's say IG username. So I'm not going to add the username right now. I will do after I stop the video. But you guys, when you have created the IG account, so you can add username, password, and then IG API key. Okay, and let's save that one. So okay, so our config file is there. Now let's create all our database stuff. So where we're going to save it. Before we do that, we can create our database. So let me open the DB browser. So in this one, we can create a new database, and then I'm going to go to the and then I can say forex.db. So yes, I will create the tables via programmatically, so I'm not going to create here. So our database is created. I will leave it open. So now what we can do is, then let's create the database.py. Okay, and then within database.py, very first thing we need to do is we import the SQLite. Then we will connect it to our Forex DB. Let's create a function to create a database. Create a table. So we'll create a table. We take a table so that we can do randomly. For example, we will create Euro USD table for days data or minutes data, hours data. So you will see, and then we can create USD JPY, any Forex pair. So that's the reason I'm giving table as a parameter. And then we connect a cursor, and then let's execute to create table. Now I'm going to say create table if not exist, so that we can, when we call, so we can call programmatically. If it doesn't exist, it will create. If it does exist, then it will just skip that part. So I'm going to give the ID integer for our the primary key, you say. So let's see what other fields are there. So as you can see, so it has a snapshot time. So this is the daily data we're going to get. So but it can be any, basically. So with snapshot time, if it is the daily, that's why 000 as a time, but otherwise it will be whatever the minutes or hours. Then it has an open price, and open price, bid and ask, close price, bid and ask, high price, like that one. I'm not going to get the trading volume, because this is the just volume from the IG point of view. As you know, Forex is traded across the globe, so there is no one exchange to monitor the volume, so this volume doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to take the snapshot time and the prices. So let's go back, and then I'm going to take the snapshot time. I'm going to open ask, open bid, close ask, close bid, high ask, high bid. So real is to capture the float values. So as you can see, the values were in float, so I want to do that one. Then low ask, low bid, and then primary key is our ID, and this is where we're going to as you can see, I've given the variable table name. So whatever the table we receive, then we can do that one. So then I'm going to commit our create table, so that will create. Now that this creates the table, now we need to load the data. So let's create a load data. So in loading data, so we will provide our which table we're going to load and what is the data. So again, from this one we're going to call a create table. So if it doesn't create it, then it will create. If it doesn't exist, then create. Otherwise so then we're going to create a connection, then execute many. So we're going to send the data when we call the API. So we're going to get as you can see, this is an array, so we will get the list of the data, and then that's how we can do. So again, all the columns I'm specifying, and then we're going to provide the values which will be from the data. So again, here I'm making it generic statement so that we can use it for any Forex pair, anything like that. So once that is done, and then I'm going to commit it. So that's it. So this does the database file. Now let's create our historical data gathering function. So I will create a separate file for that one. So let me create a new, and then I can save it as going to say IG historical data.py. Okay, now let's import first config file and the database file which we created. So we're going to import, and then because we're going to call the APIs, so we're going to use the requests. So I'm assuming you have already pip installed request. If no, then in your environment you need to do pip install request. Then I'm going to import JSON because we will be getting the data in JSON, so we need to load that one. And then I need to create the base URL. As you can see in the all these ones are the endpoints, but for the for demo one, so we will be having demo.api. so that is our the base URL, and the endpoints will keep on changing. So let's create the base URL so that we can append the other endpoints. And then we're going to do the login. So very first thing is we need to do the login into the IG. So I'm going to create a function for that one. So the endpoint is session over there, which you can see over here as well, and the login, so session. So there are different versions for that one, but we will use the version 1, so we will specify that one. So now we're going to give the parameters. In the parameter we're going to give our username and password. So that's the reason we're going to get it from our config file. And then we need to give the headers. For the headers, which we need to give is, one is of course the content type, because we're going to send as JSON, and then again the accept is JSON with the UTF-8, and this is where we're going to give the API key with x-ig API-key. So that's how we're going to give the API key from our config file. Then the version, so they're like I mentioned, so there are 3 versions, but we're going to use the version 1. So we're going to specify the version. Now we're going to request it. So our URL, we're going to send our parameters as JSON and headers, and we're going to get the result. In our result we need 2 things. So they provide us, now because we're using the version 1, so they provide us the CST, and there is another security token. So these 2 tokens we need whenever we interact with any other endpoint. Now if you don't use the version 1, if you use, let's say, version 3, which is the latest one, you will not get the CST and XSecurity token. They provide the access token and the refresh token, so then you have to use those ones. But this one is more easy, so I'm using the version 1, and I'm going to return. So basically whenever we log in, so I'm going to get the CST and the security token, and then we can use that one to get our historical data. So now I'm going to create a function to get historical data. So for historical data I'm going to take few parameters. Now one is of course the tokens. We, like I mentioned, for any endpoint we have to send the tokens, but for the historical data we going to use the endpoint which is here -prices, epoch, resolution, and numpoint, and that is the same we are using here. The epoch is this one, and this will keep on changing as per the forex pair we want to use. Resolution, whether it is a day, minute, means what is the frequency of the data we need, hourly data or whatever it is, and the num points, like how much data we need. So we will get it for 2-3 years. So we will say in days terms I'm going to get, let's say, for 600 days or something like that, which will be more than 2 years. So that's these 3 things are there. So we're going to get dynamically, and then I'm going to create the epoch. So this is where I'm taking the forex pair and I'm creating an epoch. So this can be changed from a Euro USD to USD JPY, like that. Resolution, I'm going to take a data frame, so whatever we specify, day, minute, hour, and the data points, how many data points we want. So I'm keeping it all dynamic. So once we have this one, now the price URL is this, like I shown you. So base URL -prices, and then the epoch, resolution, and the num point. So we're going to do that one, and then after that one I'm going to create a headers. So header is our so content type, again accept JSON. Then again we have to provide our API key, version 1 we're going to use for this one again, and this is where, yes, like I mentioned, we have to provide the CST token and the security token, so we need to provide those ones. Okay, so those are our headers. Now let's make a call to our the endpoint. So we're going to get the response. Now, as you know, response will be in text, so I'm going to load that one into JSON, into my temp data variable, and then I'm going to first I'm going to for loop into temp data, but I'm going to create a data result so that we can keep on appending the data, so that we can pass on that one to our database which we saw earlier, so that I can pass on the data over here. So that's the reason we're going to do that one. So let me run the for loop in that one. Now within the for loop, so how are we going to get the data? If we see the data, then within a JSON prices, this is now array, so prices 0 would be up to here, the like first one would be next one, like that one. So I'm going to run the for loop within prices so that I can get all the individual objects, and then within each individual object, then I'm going to get the open price paid, open price ask, close price paid, like that one. So done the for loop, I'm going to get the snapshot time within that one. Then for open ask, it is within open ask, and the open price then ask, like that one for bid, and for other ones as well. So we did for close, we did for high, and then we did for the low one as well. So that covers all our columns within a database. I'm going to then append as an array into our data result, which we did, and then once I done that, I'm going to return that one from this function. So there are two functions, one for login, one to get a data. Now we have all the data in our this array, and then I'm going to create a our starting point, and then I'm going to do the try catch, and then I'm going to actually, to make it more easy, I could have hard code here as well, but easy because we're going to work with different Forex pairs, and even you might want to get the data for different time frames. So I just try to make it more dynamic so that it is easy for you to use this particular tool if you use this program. So Forex pair, we're going to enter Forex pair like Euro USD, and then these are the available time frames, so day, week, month, minute, and within a minute you can have different, and then hourly you can have 1 hour, 2 hours, 3, 4 hours. So you can provide these ones. So we're going to we're taking the input from a user, like choose the data frame. First one was enter the Forex pair, then choose data frame, time frame, sorry, and then how much data in that one, like how many days we are talking about. Like if it's a daily, I'm going to give 600. Just on the IG side, they have the limit of 10,000 data for weekly, so which should be enough for you guys, but just to make you aware. Okay, so I'm going to then first so this is my data set. Now I'm going to log in, and once I have logged in, I will get the CST token and security token, and then I'm going to call our function IG historical price, and I'm going to provide the login tokens and the fields which we captured from the user, which is us basically in this case. And then once I have a data, I'm going to create a table name in an uppercase and plus the time frame, because so that you can have Euro USD underscore day, Euro USD underscore hour, if you're going to have the different data sets, so it will be easy in a database. That's the reason I created table in database programmatically rather than hard coding. It is always easy for us. And then I'm going to load the data. I'm going to call that function in database and close our try catch, and if there is an exception for us, I'm going to print it. That's it. So let's try it now. Very first thing is I need to enable our environment. So let me go to environment, and I'm going to activate it, and then let's go to the folder. So my folder is trading, and then IG, and then I can run our Python IG historical data.py. It's going to ask us the input fields which we set. So enter Forex pair. So I'm going to get the data for Euro USD, and then choose data time frame. So I'm going to get our daily data, which is day, and then how much data in days. So we definitely need at least 2 years of data. So I'm going to say 600 days, and okay, so let's check our database now. So let me close this one, close database, and let me open database again. So our database is this one, and as you can see it is there. Let me browse the data. So as you can see it has recorded 600. So let me make it bigger. So as you can see it has got all the data. So today is 11th, from 11th to, if I go to the last, which is oh yeah, so this is the last, which is 11th of 2020, and then the first one was 2020. I got confused with the same dates. Yeah, so since 11th March 2020 to now, so almost 2 years of data we have got. So yeah guys, that's how you can do. You can get any data. So I can run again, and let's say I want USD JPY, and then let's say I want hourly data, so hour, and let's say I will keep it short, like let's say we need 100 hours. Yeah, so past 100 hours, so just adjust, and then if I refresh this one, then see USD JPY underscore hour. So that's why you can have different data. And if I do, you can see 7th of Feb, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, like that one. So you have now hourly data. So you can get all the data free of cost. So this one is, if you are in UK, and you can create a IG account. And now my next tutorial would be to get the data from Alphavantage, so that should work anywhere, wherever you are in the world. And then I will do the analysis on various strategies. So if you like this, subscribe guys and be part of it, and then I will take it forward. Okay, thanks everyone, cheers, bye.